Hello, everyone. This is James Jesso of Adventures Through the Mind, and I want to share with you a clip from an interview I recently did with Mike, Brancatelli, and Ed Liu. Mike is of the Mikeadelic podcast, and Ed is of Psychedelic Milk. They invited me on to what they, I guess, do every now and then, like a special trialogue episode, where the conversation is between the three of us, and it's released independently on Mike's podcast and on Ed's podcast. I was asked whether or not I believe everyone should take psychedelics, which is often coupled with this idea that psychedelics have some sort of messianic promise or fundamentally redemptive quality that that is really worthy of discussion. And so I felt like I would extract this clip to send it out to you guys because it's a lot easier to invest in 5 or 6 minutes than it is in nearly 2 hours, which is how long the trialogue goes. For sure, if you like the clip, you'll probably like the whole interview, which explores themes like free will and anarchism versus political or social structures, and even goes into a surprisingly lengthy discussion about whether or not Dennis McKenna would make a good political leader. Here's the clip. Enjoy.
So what do you think about that? Because you raised the question of should everybody take psychedelics or should everybody have access to them? And those are two separate questions. What do you think about that issue? Because there's a lot of people out there, psychedelic advocates, that want to drop them out of airplanes and things like that. And, you know, that's a whole separate issue than just legalization and having the option to choose. What do you think about that?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I think the idea of dosing people without their permission is no better than rape, first and foremost, without their permission or their consent. I think the idea that the world will be fixed if everyone just takes psychedelics is foolish and backwards. And I think some people should not touch psychedelics at all, ever, because they can't handle it and it will only confuse and disrupt them. The very sense of who we are and how well we operate in the world is established on a balance between order and chaos. And the order is our identity, the way we structure the world around us. It's the autonomic perceptions of our reality, the stories that tell us who we are and where we've come from and what we're here to do. And the chaos is everything else that exists inside of our mind. And the sense of self, who I am, is the boundaries between my ordered mind and my chaotic mind. And for some people, they can let the walls down and let the chaos reign, restructure walls later, and become a more complex yet more coherent sense of self. Other people won't be able to get those walls back up again, and they won't be able to handle what's shown to them in a way that positively influences their lives. It could cause trauma or it could cause confusion. There's a lot of people out there in the psychedelic community that I believe are all, like, I'm not going to determine which one is or isn't, but I believe they live a very delusional perception of what's going on and what they're doing in their world. Think about the kind of people who walk around pretending to be shamans when in reality they're just charlatans that are taking money and confusing people and manipulating other people with these wide-eyed ideas that maybe they got from too many ketamine experiences, but actually believe that they're like healing the planet by bringing all these people on board. And I just think it's unreasonable to think that everyone should take psychedelics. However, I do believe that everyone should have the right to choose and to choose to use them however they choose to, if they choose to. But again, going back to that free will choice, why you would choose, what you would choose, how you would choose to, and to what degree, and to what point is all influenced by how we're educated about them and the cultural environment, the atmosphere of our cultural environment. So, I mean, the reality is like every single one of us in North America has the choice to take psychedelics if we want to, right? It's not like North Korea, where it's actually extremely difficult to make that choice. It's fairly easy to make the choice to take illicit drugs in North America, right? But some of us don't choose to because of the cultural atmosphere, the fact that it's illegal, or what have you. I do believe that the positive benefits that psychedelics can offer people, if more widely offered through some sort of social institution that enables people to do so without stigma, could have positive impact on our society as a whole. But not necessarily do I believe that everyone should take psychedelics. And I'm long over the idea that psychedelics are going to save the world, because psychedelics are not inherently benevolent, just like any molecule is not inherently benevolent or malevolent. It's just, they just simply are, and it's our relationships to it that determine wwhether or not they're good and bad, as Dennis McKenna says.
If you appreciated this clip, please subscribe to my channel. Every Friday, a video is released. Alternating Fridays is a full-length podcast, and the other alternating Friday is shorter clips such as this one. This channel, like many of your favorite channels, is supported by listeners like yourself via the opt-in voluntary tip-like method of Patreon. So if you're finding value in these videos, or in this video in particular, or my podcast, or my written work, please consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You can find me by heading to patreon.com/James W. Jesso, or by looking at the links below in the description. Thanks so much, and see you next Friday.